This is WKNC 88.1, and I'm DJ Beowvlf, currently sitting in the HD2 studio, about to interview my mentor and the mother of all college radio here at NC State, Jamie Lynn Gilbert.
That is correct. I do have a little bit of a cold today, so I apologize to my lovely listeners.
That just means that we'll be going a little bit slower than usual to account for any sneezing extraordinaires, but it is all right otherwise. Today's topic is double barrel benefit, as our 17th iteration is coming up in February, and decided to go ahead and interview Jamie to talk about all of the things that go into the process of making double barrel, and just the world of double barrel as a whole. First and foremost, if you'd be comfortable giving the audience a general background about yourself. Why are you involved with WKNC? Who are you? What do you do?
Great question. Well, my name is Jamie Lynn Gilbert, and I am the station advisor here at WKNC, and I'm the Associate Director of NC State Student Media. I have been with NC State since May of 2006. So Double Barrel Benefit 4 in 2007 was my first. So I've been to many, 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 many Double Barrel Benefits. So I can give some good perspective on the history of the program.
Are you aware of who started the very first one?
Yes. It was started by a general manager. His name was Jamie Proctor. No relation, obviously. We've
had multiple Jamies.
Yes. We have the same first name. We have different last names. And he started it in January of 2004. And he was a 2-year general manager. So when you have a student general manager for 2 years, generally speaking, you do a lot in your first year and then you're done. But if you have a second year, you have more time to do more and do better things.
Improve, for sure.
Yes. So Jamie said, I want to raise some more money for the station. I want to have this benefit concert. So he and his staff had it. The first ones were held January 4th and 5th over at King's. So it was always designed in that double barrel format, 2 nights, usually at the same venue. Sometimes it hasn't been at the same venue, but it was designed to be 2 nights back to back at the same venue. And so we had that back in 2004, and then it's just grown every year since then.
Which actually leads perfectly into my next question. I know that you weren't here for the first 3, but since 2007 was your first one?
Yes.
Up until now, how do you feel Double Barrel has changed over time?
It has really changed a lot from being a main fundraiser for the radio station to really being a showcase for the radio station. It is still a fundraiser, but it's changed in the sense that we used to not pay the bands. It's my understanding that in the first couple years, we did pay the bands a little bit. Before I got here, records weren't kept as thoroughly as I would have liked. I do know that we did pay the bands some in the first year. I don't know about the next 2 years, but we basically didn't pay the bands. And it made sense for us at the time because it was a benefit concert and it was supposed to benefit us. But I think the culture in music and art and such has changed, where artists deserve to be paid for their work.
Absolutely.
That's how, if you don't pay someone for their work, then it doesn't have value. Mm-hmm. And so we're taking this band and we're basically saying, you owe us because we play your music and you would be nothing without us. And that's just not true.
Yeah.
It's cool if we play a band, and they also exist pretty well without us. And so
it's a mutualistic relationship for sure.
Yes. So we did move to a paid model. We don't pay a lot. I don't want to anyone to think, you get paid $12,000 for playing Double Barrel. No, that's no.
But we also don't book artists in the $12,000 sphere.
Yes. No Avett Brothers are going to be playing Double Barrel Benefit, unless they want to do it for,
minimal money,
$1,000. We'll get you $1,000, Avett Brothers, if you're listening. But we have started to pay the bands, and that really happened in 2014. What happened was, one of our longtime sponsors, we had a contract, and the amount that they decided to pay us changed. And so we literally had question marks in our budget that we did not know how we were going to make up for that shortfall. It was a significant multi-$1,000 shortfall.
Right.
And our general manager at the time, Briab, is basically, let's go big or go home. And so we had a dickens of a time getting a venue, and we finally ended up getting Cat's Cradle and the Lincoln Theater.
Yeah,
and
that was the split season.
Yes, we had it split. It was 2 different weekends, really out of necessity, because that's just sort of how it worked out. And we had amazing bands. We had The Love Language, we had Mount Moriah, we had Lomelands and Bombadil and Hammer No More the Fingers, and it was great. We didn't quite sell out Lincoln Theater, but boy, there were a lot of people there.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really so great to see so many people.
And you said
supporting.
This was 2014?
This was in 2014. So this was Double Barrel Benefit 12. This was 2014 Double Barrel Benefit 11, where we sold 1,172 tickets, where the previous year we had sold less than 500.
Interesting.
So we expended a little bit more of our financial resources and reaped. I mean, we sold twice the number of tickets.
Absolutely, yeah.
Raised from ticket income, we raised about $10,000.
Now, this may be a misconception in my mind. I was under the impression that we sold out in 2011, or am I merely thinking Double Barrel 11?
In 2011, we were at King's. We had the Old Ceremony headline one night, and Hammer No More the Fingers the other night. I cannot say with certainty that we sold out.
I just remember seeing the Technician article that was headlined, Double Barrel Benefit sells out with non-sellout bands.
I can't tell you with certainty that we did. I do know we sold out in 2007. I believe that was the first time that we sold out, when we had the Mountain Goats. And I mean, this was a while ago, but it's still the Mountain Goats.
Absolutely.
And we did sell out, but you also have to keep in mind that when I say King's, I don't mean the King's on Martin Street.
This was prior to their renovation.
This was old King's, where it's now a staging area for a parking lot. So it was considerably smaller, but we did sell out. My favorite memory of Double Barrel ever was actually in February of 2008 for Double Barrel 5. King's had closed at that point, and so we had moved to the Poorhouse, and our program director, Kyle Robb at the time, came to find me in the crowd, and he just looked at me and he said, "We are breaking so many laws right now." It was packed. There were so many people there. We had sold out, and we had probably oversold, and it was just so many people there, and it was such a great feeling that it was definitely my favorite Double Barrel memory. Because
who did you have on that lineup?
That was Annuals. They were the headliner, and we had supporting act from the Never, and then the Future Kings of Nowhere and North Elementary.
Your favorite bands?
Yes, the Future Kings of Nowhere are my favorite band.
I was actually going to ask that later, but I'll cover it now. The question was, and we can do this Jeopardy style, what is your favorite band?
My favorite band is, definitely my favorite local band is the Future Kings of Nowhere.
And they've played Double Barrel several times.
They have played it 3 different times. They played it in 2008 for Double Barrel Benefit 5. They also played it for Double Barrel Benefit 10 in 2010, and then they played it for Double Barrel 15. So I guess they'll also play it for Double Barrel 20.
I guess.
I'm just going to throw that invitation. Shane, if you're listening, we'll be happy to have you. But that was one of the best ones, because I don't really know the band Drug Charge. They were fine.
They were a sight for sore eyes.
They were definitely visually appealing.
Absolutely.
Yes. The Muslims played after that.
Incredible.
It's a great band. We
Incredible
had them
bands.
for our Hopscotch Day Party, and I just loved them.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pie Face Girls was
also very cool.
After that, and then
Legends of the Raleigh scene.
Yes, the Future Kings of Nowhere. So Jamie Holla, who was general manager at the time, because there's lots of Jamies everywhere, he comes up to me and he's like, I think I'm going to book Future Kings of Nowhere. And I just looked at him. I'm like, that's like my favorite band, right? And he's like, no. He had no idea. And I was like, oh, it's so great. So that was just
so
wonderful.
It was a genuine decision and not just I'm going to appeal to my advisor.
Yes, because I do think that he has booked a few things because I was like, oh, let's just make Jamie happy, which is fine. I mean, and it worked out. But
yeah, and you were happy.
And it was actually Future Kings of Nowhere that's like, can we have Pie Face Girls with us? And we're like, yeah. Have you already talked to them? Because will they do it? Yeah. So it was...
That's funny
my
how
favorite
that works
ever.
out. Yeah.
And I had my Fitbit on, and it thought I was like riding a bike during their set. They're like, "Are you on an elliptical? Is this a random sport?" Because I was just going crazy.
Yeah.
So that's what I do at Future Kings of Nowhere shows.
I mean, if I loved a band that much, which I do, I love several in that way, I would probably get the same response from a Fitbit. Transitioning back into the technical side of Double Barrel Benefit, what kind of planning goes into putting on an event like this? And I feel so corny asking this question as I'm in the process of planning this event, but it's not my interview.
That's true. Well, what happens is usually the earlier the better. It usually starts in the early part of the fall semester. The general manager and then whoever the general manager selects for their team, they get together and they basically make a wish list. And they think, wouldn't it be great if? One year we were like, wouldn't it be great if Polvo totally wanted to headline Double Barrel Benefit?
If they like reunited and played Double Barrel.
And it did. Like it happened. We actually had Polvo play.
That's insane.
That was Double Barrel Benefit 7 in 2009. And that was just like, let's just throw it out and like see how it happens. And so we just...
And did they know what WKNC is?
Yeah.
That's so sick.
Yeah, it's great. And
they're one of my favorite bands.
And it's really interesting to watch things come together. One of my favorite ones to watch come together was Double Barrel Benefit 8, which was in 2010. And we got Roman Candle to headline. Now, Roman Candle, it was originally based out of Raleigh, but they had since moved to Nashville. But they basically had a homecoming show in order to, play for us.
Right.
And back when we started booking it, ideally you shoot for the headliners and then you sort of fill in the supporting acts.
Where needed, yeah.
Yes. And we had asked a local band, Max Indian, to play. And our original thought back in like September, October was that Max Indian would open the night. And by like late November, they had blown up so much
Interesting.
that they ended up headlining the other night.
Nice.
So a band had just gotten so popular.
So fast
that luckily we had already like secured them. And so we were able to have them headline
Shift them
that
around,
night. So
yeah.
we had Spider Bags that night with Roman Candle, Midtown Dickens, The Tender Fruit, and then Max Indian headlined along with Beowvlf, and The Light Pines. So at that time, we were focused more on indie rock, our bread and butter, so you
Absolutely.
will. We kind of moved away from that primarily in 2016. Now, that's when we had De Niro Ferrar headline at Cat's Cradle. Now, he is not the first time that we've ever had hip hop. Sometimes I hear that and I'm like, no, that's not true. We did have King Mez and Halo perform
and
at Double Barrel
Mez
Benefit
is,
8.
Just a singular name.
Mez
and is also playing Dreamville.
Yes. And that was actually, there was a funny story happened with that. There was a band that we had worked with, and I won't say who they are. I will not shame them, but we had booked them for Double Barrel Benefit 8, and like we were going to make the announcement like within 24 hours, and we got an email that were like, oh wait, no, we can't play that.
Question mark?
Whoops. One of our members is going to be, was either like having oral surgery, like his wisdom teeth out, or out of the country. Basically, like we
a
never
reason you
should have said
known.
yes.
Yeah.
So it went crazy.
I'm getting some secondhand stress there.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't really my stress because it's not my job to plan it.
Right.
It's just my job to make sure that it gets planned. And this was actually something really weird happened. The day before, We had accidentally published a blog post
Oh no.
with the names of who was playing, and then we like unpublished it right away, but someone had seen it and someone had leaked it.
No way.
So the next day, and I have no idea how this happened. The next day it happened again. And
Like someone canceled, or it was leaked again?
it was leaked again. I think my best guess is what had happened is we replaced that one band with Mez and Halo. My guess, and I have no idea if it's true, and I'm not trying to throw shade at anybody, but I think one of those people told somebody, and that's how it happened. Because honestly, at that point, I didn't even know who was playing Double Barrel Benefit.
Yeah.
Because I didn't feel well that night, and I went to sleep at like 8 o'clock. And so I got a text message at like 10. It's like, oh, it's going to be Mez and Halo. But I didn't know that till I woke up the next morning, and it had already been leaked. So sometimes it gets leaked. I mean, it doesn't matter. It was only leaked like 12 hours in advance. But
I mean, that's still kind of cool that someone was interested enough to like leak that information. It's almost an exciting thing.
it was just interesting that they knew before I knew.
Yeah, for sure.
Had I been awake, I would have known.
But other than curating a lineup, what kind of other processes go into creating Double Barrel?
Well, we start with a budget. So we have a certain small amount that we have to pay our bands, and you have to work from there. If the band that you want costs X amount of money, well, then you only have Y amount left.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to get a big headliner that's going to cost more money, then you have to pay everyone else
less
a little
money.
less.
Yeah.
Or do you want to try to pay everyone the same? It all depends on what market rate is and what bands are willing to be paid.
I know we did some serious haggling this year.
Yes, we've also done serious haggling in the past. And I mean, ultimately, it is still a benefit show. And yes, some of these artists deserve more than we are able to pay them, but they're also getting a lot of exposure from it. So it's not like, I mean, I also know that you can die from exposure and you can't like pay your rent with exposure. And so here is some money for that. But
absolutely. We're definitely not trying to strong arm anyone here. It's if they say yes to what we have, thank you very much. The added benefit is that you get to sell your merch and, perform to it, and we'll add your music to our radio station rotation. But we're definitely not trying to force people to work for less than what they deserve.
No, there are definitely lots of bands when we're like, this is how much we can pay you. They just
say no.
Like, we can hear them laughing through the email. And,
yeah.
And you know what? That's fine. Like, if you can't do it, that's fine. Like, we ain't mad at you.
Of course not.
We know that you have bills to pay too.
Yeah. That was just the dream.
Yes.
Yes. Working from the budget after that. After you've secured your lineup, things have been announced. What's next? We're in that phase right now.
Well, what I have to do, this is my boring adult job. I have to make sure that contracts are signed with all the bands. And I have to make sure that, we help find food. So I need to know, how many people are vegan and how many people don't eat meat, and, do you need gluten-free? So I have to make sure that all of that logistical part is done. The really boring crossing the T's and dotting the I's that the general manager doesn't want to do. I also have to make sure that they all get paid. So I either have to get them a check from our NC State accounting office. I have to handle W-9s and just boring things that no 20-something general manager wants to deal with.
Absolutely not.
I help with the promotion. I'm like, by the way, have you recorded a promo yet? Have you recorded a promo yet? Let's make sure we get all
Is
these
the promo
promos
in
out.
rotation? Does it sound good?
I once upon a time, we had a very poor local music director, and so I had to add the music for the bands because that person was not doing it. I was like, well, it's got to get done, and you ain't gonna do it. So sometimes I have to fill in gaps where we have personnel issues.
You have been, I can't remember the word that I was going for, vigilantly filling in the gap of scheduling this semester,
yes.
For which we are very grateful. Otherwise, we would be off the air.
Yes, that is why I'm in today, even though I don't feel super great, because if I didn't come in, we'd go off the air at midnight, and usually we call the operations manager the person who schedules, and usually every operations manager messes up once. So I've been taking over that task for maybe a month or so, and I have not messed up yet. So my record is flawless, and so that's why I came in, and also came in on Monday when I felt like crapper. So
Well, thank you for all of that and for coming in. I will wind down because I only have a couple questions left. As far as this year's Double Barrel goes, we have already announced. Do you have an artist that you're most excited for on the lineup?
All right. Let's remind our listeners who the artists are.
Super valid. So Double Barrel Benefit 17 will be held at King's this year. Night 1 is going to be headlined by Pat Jr., opened by Vacant Company, and the second and third artists, respectively, are King Gino and Dotwave Media. Night 2 is going to be headlined by Truth Club, and Junior Astronomers will be direct support, playing third. Opened by Det, pronounced debt, as in we are in debt, but it's spelled DE 2 parentheses T, and then after that will be Black Surfer. So that is Det, Black Surfer, Junior Astronomers, Truth Club. And that will be February 7th and 8th as at King's, just like I said.
I am excited to see Truth Club. I don't think I've actually seen them.
That's surprising.
Maybe I have. I've definitely seen their
existence
in other spaces and in other bands. Certainly, some of the members from Astro Cowboy are in this band as well. I'm also excited to see Black Surfer. I'm excited because members of Truth Club and members of Black Surfer have worked for WKNC
as well as members of Vacant Company
and members of Vacant Company. Have you said?
Yes.
Oh, geez, yes. So many people.
That's
I don't
Davis
even know.
Harrell.
Ah, yes. So like, it's almost like we can't not book a band that has had some affiliation with WKNC. Like, we don't try to do it because
there's no nepotism going on.
No, it looks a little shady, but like, there's so many of our students have gone on to greater things.
It's almost like working in college radio exposes you to the music industry, and then you join it.
Yeah, like you sent me the W9. I was like, oh, I know this dude. I know this dude. So I was really excited. I was like, wait, yeah.
Other than that, we're also really stoked to have so many NC State students and alumni on the list. King Gino is currently enrolled at NC State. Dotwave Media is comprised of many NC State students. I think they have one person who goes to chapel, but we'll ignore that.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, I don't know Pat Jr.'s affiliation with NC State. And Junior Astronomers is from Charlotte, so they kind of like escaped that list. And I'm unaware of Det as well. But the vast majority of the personnel on this lineup, regardless of which musical group they're in, have some sort of tie to NC State or WKNC. So it's really cool to give back to a community that we're so heavily involved in. Personally, for me, my favorite act or act that I am most excited for is Junior Astronomers. I saw them in Charlotte, and they are probably the artists that single-handedly got me into local music. And so to come full circle and be able to book them on a lineup that I'm planning is beyond exciting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure their name was on a little Post-it note that you slipped me in August that said, this is who I want to book.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm just really glad that they were willing to say yes for, as we've said, minimal money as they're traveling 3 hours to get here. So beyond stoked on that. Cannot even express that enough. And then my final question for you, for anyone who's interested in coming to Double Barrel, obviously, we've got a killer lineup, so people are really excited for the musicians that are going to be there. But ultimately, the vast majority of the money is going to WKNC. So in an increasingly digital age, why does college radio matter? Why does it matter that our audience is supporting us? And what does Double Barrel Benefit do for us that is significant?
Well, I think music exists in a lot of form. So you could just go to Bandcamp and spend all day there, or SoundCloud or Spotify. But what WKNC does is it helps you know who to listen to. Every so often,
tastemaker.
Yeah, I would turn on Spotify and I would just like, I don't know who to listen to.
They also heavily promote like artists that you're already aware of.
Yes. And so, I mean, yeah, maybe I want to listen to Vampire Weekend, but maybe I also want to listen to Junior Astronomers or Pat Jr. And WKNC is a curator of the local music scene and the national music scene, but particularly the local music scene. I mean, I can listen to another college radio station online and get that same college radio feel. I can listen to a professional, quote unquote, college radio station like KCRW,
KEXP,
and get that type of music. But what WKNC does is, and what we can do better than KEXP and KCRW and those stations, is give you the North Carolina music scene.
Absolutely.
North Carolina indie rock, North Carolina hip hop, North Carolina metal. We
North
know
Carolina
what's
issues that we share promos about all the time.
Yeah, like those people are in our calculus classes. So we can tell you who they are and give you that platform through the local lunch, through your program, the local beat, and just having folks here in the studio that they listen to us and we listen to them, and we can help share their music.
It's definitely a very bottom-up experience. We do get a lot of music sent from promoters and record labels and such, but local music that comes from our sphere of influence is really exciting to put on the airwaves. As we've established, lots of our students end up being in popular local bands, and whether that's our creation or their dedication or a mix of both is a really cool final product to get to see. So I am definitely very excited for the 17th iteration of Double Barrel Benefit. Any final questions, comments, concerns, Jamie?
Well, I do want one more comment, since we're probably also going to be turning this into a podcast. I want to let people know that in addition to Double Barrel Benefit, we have a Wolfpack Winter Welcome Week concert. We're working on booking right now.
I've got one of the two artists booked.
But that will be, I believe it's January 13th.
Yes, ma'am.
To welcome folks back. It's going to be in Campus Cinema. We're not going to be out on the lawn in 60-degree weather. That's probably going to closer to 30-degree weather. It's going to be from 8 to 10. And so that is free. So I know that some folks can't afford the ticket price of Double Barrel. So if you can't,
which is $13 for one night or $22 for both.
But it's free for the Wolfpack Winter Welcome Week concert, and
4
it is
Ws.
open to students. I know it's specifically for students, but it's on campus, so anyone can come. And so I'd also want to encourage folks to do that. And once we announce the lineup, we'll be telling you about that all day, along with Double Barrel Benefit.
All right. Thank you so much for talking to me today, Jamie. Super excited for Double Barrel, the Wolfpack Winter Welcome Week concert, and everything that goes on just working with you. I'm very excited to have such a knowledgeable and enthusiastic mentor. This has been WKNC 88.1 Off the Record with